Hi, this is Kath Gavin. Welcome to Breaking Bread, bite-sized messages to feed your inner man. Over the next several weeks and months, I plan to share with you my insights on the book of Revelation as I study it. So today, we're going to get into Revelation chapter 5. In Revelation 5, verses 1 to 7, him that sat on the throne had a book in his right hand sealed with 7 seals. Jesus, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, the Lamb as it had been slain, took the book from the right hand of him that sat on the throne. Only Jesus was worthy to loose its 7 seals. This takes us back to Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass, for the time is at hand. According to Revelation 1, God the Father, Yahweh, gave the revelation of Jesus Christ to Jesus Christ to show unto his servants. That's what we see being played out in Revelation 5. What is this book with 7 seals? Let's take a look at Daniel. Daniel 12, verse 4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Verse 9. Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Daniel's vision was sealed to the time of the end. Jesus had authority to loose the seals set upon Daniel's vision, because the time of the end was at hand. What did Daniel prophesy? Daniel 9. The people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. The Greek word for week, Sabua, can mean 7 years. Therefore, the midst of the week denotes a 3.5-year period beginning when the sacrifice and the oblation ceased. A similar passage is found in the last chapter of Daniel, Daniel 12, verse 11. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. 1,290 divided by 360 equals 3.58 years. Again, Daniel described a 3.5-year period beginning when the daily sacrifice was taken away. When did the sacrifice cease? When was it taken away? In around August of 66 AD, Eleazar ben Ananias, governor of the temple, refused to receive sacrifices from the Romans. According to 1st century historian Flavius Josephus, this was the true beginning of the Roman-Jewish War. And I'll read an excerpt from War of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 17. Eleazar, the son of Ananias the high priest, a very bold youth, who was at that time governor of the temple, persuaded those who officiated in the divine service to receive no gift or sacrifice from any foreigner. This was the true beginning of our war with the Romans, for they rejected the sacrifice of Caesar on this account. I just want to mention that a few months prior to this event, some very important things happened. In April to June of 66 AD, during Passover and Pentecost, several miraculous signs were witnessed. For example, chariots and troops of soldiers in their armor running about among the clouds. Also, around April of 66 AD, Gessius Florus sent soldiers to confiscate money from the temple treasury. They were met with resistance, and as a result, Florus ordered 3,600 Jews to be killed. This was the unofficial start to the Jewish revolt. However, it wasn't until August of 66 AD that the sacrifice ceased, as prophesied by Daniel. In Matthew 24, Jesus warned his disciples, "When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains." What was the abomination that Daniel spoke of? It was, at least in part, Eleazar's refusal to receive sacrifices from the Romans, for in doing so he invited Rome to make war upon them. Furthermore, Eleazar had no authority to introduce novel rules. The high priests and principal men of the city tried to convince Eleazar to not omit the sacrifice, but to no avail. Finally, if we continue reading in the War of the Jews, Book 2, we find the actual word abominations used with regard to Eleazar's men murdering Roman soldiers on the Sabbath day. By August 66 AD, the city of Jerusalem was all over polluted with abominations. Jesus' warning to flee Judea in Matthew 24 was recorded a little differently in Luke 21. "When you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know the desolation thereof is nigh. Let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains." Not long after the cessation of the daily sacrifice, around November of 66 AD, Gaius Cestius Gallus, governor of Syria, led a Roman attack upon Jerusalem. Cestius put his army in array against Jerusalem and would have taken the city except for several military blunders that, according to Josephus, were owing to the aversion of God. By late November, Cestius and his army were completely overcome in the Battle of Beth Horon. This shock defeat not only prolonged the Jewish revolt, but allowed many to flee the city. War of the Jews, Book 2, Chapter 20. After this calamity had befallen Cestius, many of the most eminent of the Jews swam away from the city as from a ship when it was going to sink. Though Josephus does not specifically mention Christians, it makes sense that Christians, recalling Christ's words on the Mount of Olives, may have fled Jerusalem and indeed Judea at this time. Interestingly, Revelation 12 verse 6 describes a woman fleeing into the wilderness and being fed there for 1,260 days, which, when we divide it by 360, equals, yes, exactly 3.5 years. The Roman siege upon Jerusalem began in April of 70 AD during Passover and lasted 5 months. From August 66 AD, when the sacrifice ceased, to April 70 AD, when the siege began, is roughly 3.5 years. When did John pen the book of Revelation? Though the most popular view is that it was penned around 95 AD, it makes sense to me that it was penned in 60-something AD, a short time before the Roman-Jewish War began, which is why Revelation, when written, was about things that would shortly come to pass. Some believe the 3.5 years began a little earlier than August, around April or May. Some believe it began a little later. Whichever way you slice it, Daniel's 3.5 years led up to the Roman siege of 70 AD, in which the city and sanctuary were destroyed. Understanding the first few verses of Revelation 5 is important for understanding chapters 6 to 8, in which the 7 seals are opened. If you want to follow along this journey with me, click the subscribe button. Also, I'd love to read your insights in the comment section. In the description box, you'll find some excerpts from the War of the Jews, written by 1st century historian Flavius Josephus. Until my next video, God bless.